Well, hello and welcome back to the Middlemen Podcast. If you're watching on YouTube, then I'm not in prison. I'm just using my mum's laptop because I've left mine somewhere. So hello, welcome back after, an amazing week for boxing with YouTubers and lightweights and the cruiserweights. It really has been a cracking 7 days or so for boxing. And this time last week, a week ago, we were watching Tommy Fury take on Jake Paul. It was a fight that had Cristiano Ronaldo ringside alongside Mike Tyson as well. Derek Chisora was just doing his thing. He was just there. It was a really sort of built up, hyped up fight. It wasn't a fight. It was almost just this massive event that had a fight included within it. I had a brilliant undercard with Badou Jack on it as well. And we'll talk about him in a minute. But the fight itself, we all know how it went by now. It went 12 rounds, which was complete 8 rounds. It wasn't even a 12-round fight. It went 8 rounds. It was completely unexpected. And Jake Paul showed the world that he's a better boxer than most people thought. Tommy showed the world that he's perhaps not a great boxer at all, and nowhere near the level that people thought he was at. And that really is the story of that fight. They exchanged punches. Tommy dominated, but let his guard down every time he looked like he could go for it. He just didn't really. And Jake Paul landed one heavy punch that sort of counted as a knockdown when Tommy slipped. So an interesting fight, Matt. So let's start with it. My take is that, like I just said, Tommy Fury, really, is he anything special? I think someone like Lawrence Okoli would wipe the floor with him. It is my very honest take. Jake Paul, hats off to the guy. He put up a fight. He survived, and I think the biggest compliment anyone can give him, as I think Eddie Hearn once said, is that he is just an average boxer.
Yeah, with the event overall, as you said, it was real chaos, star-studded. I saw some people on social media call Derek Chisora being there like Salt Bae being in the World Cup final, just there.
So true.
Somehow just has access to the whole thing, but hey, he's basically retired now, so he can live his best life. But yeah, impressive event, like the undercard wasn't stacked, but of course, as you said, we'll touch on Badou Jack's cruiserweight world title fight later. And I was actually watching it with my girlfriend and a few of her friends up in Birmingham, and I said to them, I was like, we're making it, we're not getting there for the main event, we're getting there for the Badou Jack fight, so you guys can watch world-class cruiserweight
proper
level
boxing
before you watch some novice cruiserweight boxing. But yeah, with the main event, I mean, it'll be interesting to see where their stocks go. I know you said that Jake, impressed a lot of people and showed that he was better than a lot of people thought he was, and Tommy maybe on the opposite end of that spectrum. But I still think it's done well, done what it should for the winner and loser. I think Jake's been exposed now. I think, any of that worry, but that uncertainty on if Jake can really hang in there with a real boxer, I think that's just shut it out now. I don't think he was really competitive at any stage of the fights.
No.
Low out because he couldn't work Tommy out. But yeah, did land, that's not to say he didn't land good shots. He come over the top, relied way too much on that overhand right, as we've seen him knock people out with before. But that was that was his plan A, and when that was out the window, he didn't have a plan B. But as you said, scored a good knockdown as well. It was really good time jab. Sent Tommy on his bum, but yeah, apart from that, he really did dominate the fight.
For one professional boxer to be deducted a point, and then for Jake Paul to have been deducted a point as well, I think that really just highlighted the amateurness of this fight, that they are both novices, and it was like a wrestling bout at one point. You're watching it thinking, what is this? Like, it just wasn't boxing. It wasn't clean. The referee was all wrong for it. I mean, that referee was just appalling, wasn't he, really? He didn't really, I don't think he understood the essence of that fight. The essence of that fight was that it's going to be scrappy, that neither of these guys can really stand on their own 2 feet without falling over each other. A really weird night of boxing. Tommy Fury saying that it's his legacy, which is just crazy. Like, I know emotions were running high, and Jake Paul quite rightly saying that, he lost, but at the same time, how much has he got in the bank now? 7 million or something. So I don't know where it leaves both boxers, probably with a rematch. And then for Tommy, look, I don't think the guy, I think he showed the world that he doesn't really have a massive future in this sport. Jake Paul, I just don't think he does. He could barely get past Jake Paul.
Where's your optimism, Noah? He's 20.
He could barely get past Jake Paul. Like, what's going to happen if he gets in the ring with Badou Jack? What would happen?
But there's such a massive jump between there. There's so much.
No, but that's where he wants to be.
Up and develop. Of course, he wants to be there. Yeah, and he's not going to be there if he does tell himself and tell the people that his legacy is in beating YouTube boxers. If you feel like your destiny is to become a world champion and to really rise up those divisions, then you need to move those goalposts a little bit. But of course, I think what you saw in that post-fight interview was just a relief off his shoulders.
Yeah, it was.
As he said, it consumed his life for 2 years. I wouldn't know how to handle that. I'm 21. In 2 years' time, fighting in front of how many people, with how many people tuning in already, he's kind of used to the fame of being a social media star, maybe because of Love Island a few years beforehand. But that level of intensity, he said he'd walk out his front door and people would be shouting at him that Jake's going to smash him up. It's a different and really, really hard, intense thing to deal with. So I don't even think he boxed at his best. I don't think he boxed anywhere near his best. Not to say that Jake was as well, but I think he at least did what he needed to do for us boxing purists and show and prove that there is levels in this. And some, his fundamentals aren't the best, but with just a stiff jab and some movement, could have had more cardio, could have had better shot selection at times, but caught him with some nasty uppercuts. And Jake's got a great chin as well. Let's say that.
Yeah.
Let's get that out there. But I think Tommy does have room to grow. And you just got to give him time. But as you said, maybe different aims and objectives now. It'd be interesting to see if he does take this rematch and he still lets this YouTube celebrity stuff kind of consume him, or he does say, look, that chapter's closed now. I went there, I came, I saw, I conquered, I got the bag, got the money in the bank. Now I'm going to move on to pastures greener.
I think either way, I don't think that there's a wrong answer for Tommy Fury. I think whatever he does actually is a pretty sensible decision. If he sticks to YouTube boxing and celebrity boxing, then good on the guy. It's like running your own business. It's entrepreneurial.
Yeah. Like smash the competition in there.
It really is.
It must be appealing for him.
Yeah, and it's massive. He's promoting himself and he's making loads of money. What? Good on the guy. He's done really. Look, he was the brunt of the Fury family, wasn't he? No one really knew who he was until Love Island, and now he's headlining worldwide events with that literally the whole of the boxing world watching. So, look, you got to take your hat off to him. And with Jake Paul, like I said, he's laughing his way to the bank, and he doesn't care really. He's making loads of money and he's enjoying himself. So, to both of them, I think actually some credit. And also, you're right, with Fury and the pressure on his shoulders. And it was just a complete outpour of emotion. But also, he's a young father. Like, Molly had given birth to their kid, Bambi, a couple of weeks before. So
yeah, it wasn't long at all, was it?
Exactly. And I can't believe I've just spoke about Molly May in a boxing podcast. But there you go. That's that. I think we can brush it under the carpet until we get a rematch. And look, the main thing is, I think what you want to see from this fight is new fans being introduced to the sport. Did that happen? Absolutely. I read somewhere over 250,000 new fans were introduced to boxing. I don't know if that number's accurate, but even if that's ballpark, that is incredible.
Yeah, and it is. And that's that's the factor that I've always enjoyed about this celebrity boxing. If there's some silver lining to take away from it, it is that. But on the flip side to that as well, I've seen girls on TikTok say, watching this Tommy Fury fight, knowing that I'm never going to lay my eyes on a boxing match ever again. It's like, do you know what I mean? There are two sides to that coin, and it was exciting as well to, as I said, be in Birmingham, be at the venue, see how popular it was, and see everyone enjoying themselves, watching the sport that I so dearly love. But a lot of them, it's new fans, but such a much smaller percentage on the ones that are actually going to stay, the ones that actually watched the fight and said, oh, this sport's great. This is what I want to watch. That'll only be, I'd be lucky if there's a few hundred out of those thousands of people, because they were tuning into an event. they weren't becoming fans of the sport. They were tuning into an event which was boxing. So hopefully, thousands of them stay, but we'll have to see.
We'll see what happens. I doubt many of them were there to watch the undercard that included a real proper cruiserweight world title clash that blew everyone away. Now, Richard Riakporhe has called out Badou Jack, and obviously that comes after Badou Jack just sensationally stopped Ilunga Makabu, and he became a 3-division world champion. And this is the thing with Badou Jack. It's like, how is he not better known? So the casual boxing fan, they wouldn't know who he is. But he did very well. He was knocked down twice, rounds 4 and 7, but landed some really clean shots. And he's 39 years old. You wouldn't have known he was 39 years old. And he's the first Muslim to become a champion in Saudi Arabia. So that's something as well. Look, he's won the super middleweight title, the WBA lightweight title. He was a 2008 Olympian. He's now a cruiserweight champion as well. I just find it so incredible that no one knows this guy. Or people do know him in the boxing world, but if you walk down the street and you drop the name Badou Jack into a conversation, they probably just look at you like, who?
Such a hard name though, isn't it? It's a badass name, that is, Badou Jack. For some reason I love it. And the Ripper as well, going in as the alias, mate. Gotta love that. And I think it was Makabu that was down in 4 and 7, not Jack. I'm not sure if Jack did get knocked down.
Yes, you're right. Yeah.
I was gonna say, memory's a little bit skewed, but like a dominant performance where Makabu had his moments and was definitely competitive through it. Obviously, the way it was piped up was quite weird. I don't know if it was coming from my bit biased perspective because I wanted Jack to win. So I don't know if I just thought that he was kind of promoted as the champion going into this one, but I'm not sure if you felt the same. It kind of felt like that was the one, maybe because his name is a little bit heavier than Makabu's, and let's not play around here. Three-weight world champion. Sorry, you get into that kind of stratosphere of boxing greatness. You're 3, 4, 5, and then you can go Manny Pacquiao up to 8. But when we're talking about Manny Pacquiao here, we're talking about the kind of greatness, the percentage of greatness that Jack's moved into with this win, becoming a 3-weight world champion.
You've got someone like Canelo and you've got someone like Badou Jack, and I guarantee you, if you drop the name Canelo into a sentence, most people would turn around and acknowledge that they know who he was.
And it's interesting because before Canelo fought Dimitri Bivol at light heavyweight, he of course wanted to jump up to cruiserweight, and Makabu was the fight he wanted to. He was the person he wanted to fight. After that, I know they're completely different fighters, but after that performance last Sunday, let me tell you, I think Canelo has a better chance of being a cruiserweight world champion at the hands of Makabu than he is winning a heavyweight bout of either of those Russian champions there at 175 pounds. But yeah, going back to Jack's performance, fantastic. Picked his shots really well, and it's frustrating because he's 39 years of age. This is the other impressive thing. This man is almost 40. Amazing. So once again, you're talking about boxing greatness in terms of the old champions. You think Bernard Hopkins, you think George Foreman, 2 of the best guys to ever do that in their respective divisions. So, this guy's like, they still might not know about him, and that is just down to promotion and marketing. But when you look at records and you look at his achievements, he's moved into a rare and elite percentage of boxers in the history of the sport, really.
Yeah, and an Olympian as well. And if you look at most great boxers, they were Olympians too. So yeah, Badou Jack. What's next for Badou Jack? I think that's the question now. Who's he going to fight next? Will it be? Yeah, I'd love to see an Okoli fight. I'd love to see a Riakporhe fight. I think both would be really entertaining. Riakporhe says he wants either Badou Jack or Okoli. We saw him have that scrap with Okoli on the red carpet at Creed 3. But yeah, Riakporhe is a good boxer. He's beaten Bill Smith, and he means business. He beat Glowacki in January, and we know this guy is serious. Is it about time he gets his title shot?
Yeah, and I think so. I do think so. It's hard though, because it's a hard position for Badou Jack to be in, because okay, you've won the bout, and as you said, where do you go from here? You've got young, hungry killers in that division who want what you've got, and you know, it's hard with Reactport because you're like, oh, if you're just gonna, you know, chase Badou Jack, then you're just doing it because he's, you know, he's 39-year-old. You know, you're more than likely to get the win. Of course, it'll be a very competitive fight, but you're just thinking the younger, fresher fighter probably wants it more. You know, what really motivation can Jack muster at 39 years of age after, as I said, making these achievements that he has, to go and then be spurred on to go and defend about against someone who, as you said, has beaten top European champions like Billum Smith. It's a hard one because, you know, you say, it seems a bit of a sly move from Reactport to pursue that instead of the Akoli fight, but he's got, you know, Jack's got what Reactport wants, what Reactport needs in his head. So it makes sense why he would go into fight it. But obviously, as you said, through whether it's a PR stunt or not, but through that Creed 3 little beef at the premiere between Reactport and Akoli, you kind of want that one to be next.
If they do fight, then it's got to be dubbed beef at the premiere. That's got to be what that fight card is called. That
fight
night has
the
to
bills,
be
guys.
beef at the. I might email them. I might
who's
DM them.
going to be throwing out on Matchroom probably? Oh no, because Akoli's there. It'll be Sky Sports.
Sky. Would it be Boxer? Let's get Ben Shalom. Let's message Ben. And just,
get Ben Shalom on the podcast and throw a load of bill headliners.
Name suggestions. It was at the Creed 3 trailer. So I'm just sort of, I don't know if you can still see me on YouTube, this old laptop really.
Frozen a little bit, you have.
It's had better days, like Creed, he's probably had better days. So at the Creed 3 premiere, there was this bit of beef. There you go, I'm back on YouTube now. Have you seen the first two Creeds?
I'm gonna have to, you called me out, so I'm gonna have to be honest. I haven't seen the second. I haven't seen all of the second. I've seen like a little bit of the second. Okay. I haven't seen the fight with
Drago's son.
Son, yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
I do remember the plot and what it was meant to be, but I'll put it on my watch list because I do want to watch this third one as well. I like this.
Yeah.
I like the look of this one. So I'll have to watch it before and have a bit of a Creed marathon going on there.
Yeah. Quite excited for this one. I mean, no Tony Bellew, which is a shame. No Rocky either, which is just, it seems
Rocky
really.
In this one.
Rocky's not in this Creed, so Rocky wants nothing to do with this Creed. And Michael B. Jordan, I think what's being reported is he went under the radar a little bit with this film. Didn't really want to include Rocky in it, Sylvester Stallone in it, and Stallone's just cut ties. So there is no Rocky in this third film, as I understand. I haven't seen the third. Again, I
don't think I saw him in the trailer. To be fair.
I've seen one and two. What's your favorite Rocky movie, Max?
I'm gonna have to step. No, I'm not gonna play it safe. But I was gonna go for Rocky 3.
Ooh, okay. I don't think that's playing it safe.
And and it's not because I'm gonna go with Rocky 2 because there's nothing more iconic than that film. And when you look at it and you look at how great that movie was, but 3 to me is a very close second, and it's probably 4 or 5 on a lot of people's lists. Not one of the best ones, but as a young impressionable kid, it's like with the Star Warses, right? Because I grew up in a time where I could watch them all. So all the prequels that came out in the early 2000s, they're more kind of influential to me. And I'm pretty sure I couldn't have seen Rocky 3 before too. But I just remember Rocky 2 made me a fan, and then I watched Rocky 3 as a fan. So that's why I loved it so much. And I just loved, obviously, B.A. Baracus' attitude, the whole thing was great, right? But 2 just has to get in there for what it did, man. It was like, I literally, like, I don't really talk about Rocky enough because that is truly what got me into the sport. As it is.
Yeah, and seriously, exactly the same here. Rocky got me into boxing, and I guarantee you that is it's probably a very common answer. How did you get into boxing? Rocky.
Yeah,
they are for me. It's probably one of my favorite film franchises ever. Rocky 3 with Mr. T, Clubber Lang, great film. Mickey dies and Apollo trains Rocky. Yeah, great
huge
film.
Moments, mate, isn't it? Huge moments.
Yeah, these are the moments that are ingrained in your childhood. Rocky 2, Rocky beats Creed. Yeah, these are brilliant. Mine
getting up time.
Oh,
mate.
Getting up at, as if any referee would let a fight go on like that now. Or ever. Rocky 4, got to be my favorite.
Yeah, I was gonna say I wanted to shout out Rocky 4 as well because we're talking so much about 2 and 3 and obviously 1 as well. But I think what one got it underway, but then 2, 3, 4 really took it off.
They were Hollywood, weren't
Apollo dies, and the Ivan Drago, just the absolute monster. Like you can't beat it. And it's so. Go on, mate. Go on.
I was just gonna say, if you watch it back on I get YouTube Shorts all the time, and like I get all the Rocky stuff on it, especially because Creed's come out. And I was watching back Apollo being killed in the ring, which is just brutal. And it's the way like Apollo's twitching in the ring, and it's just I'm just thinking how they properly go into detail with
how
it.
They get away with this.
Can you imagine that now? Just seeing a guy twitching in a boxing ring. So Creed, great franchise. Well, Rocky, great franchise. Creed should be a great film. We've gone a bit off track, but who doesn't love a bit of Rocky talk? We could go back to real life boxing. Not that Creed isn't real life boxing, by the way. I'm not shattering that illusion.
For the 6-year-old kids listening in.
Creed is a real life boxer, and so is whoever he's fighting in this third film. I'm sure the guy who he went to school with and then went to it was probation with.
Actor Jonathan Majors, isn't it?
That's right.
I saw he had a whole transformation for the film. It was amazing, and he looks like a good new enemy for Adonis in this coming one. I'm excited for it, man.
Me too. Come on, you Creed. But we'll go back to some real life boxing, and we'll start with Tommy Skinner from The Apprentice. No, I'm joking. Did you see that fight?
I saw like one clip on TikTok last night. Yeah, I didn't actually see the fight.
Didn't even go around.
Something. Yeah, didn't he? He took the guy out quickly, didn't he? But I'm telling you, the guy's got hands. The guy has got hands because he's always there with the he's down with the Fisher boys in Essex, is he?
Yeah,
I think all the time. And you see him on the bag, and like he's a bit of a natural, the way he lets his shots go. I didn't actually think he'd ever step in a ring and put it on display, but you'd look at it and you're like, whip yourself into shape, and you got a half decent boxer right there.
Proper
proved that last night.
Proper geezer. Anyway, so well done, man, Tommy. Tommy did well, as did Ohara Davies, who is a properly ranked and respected boxer, and he might well become a super lightweight world champion in the coming months. So he very ruthlessly actually broke down Ritson last night, didn't he? The Hackney boy, Ritson in Newcastle. I think Ritson's from Hackney. I think he's a London boy, or is Davies from Hackney? Davies is Hackney, Ritson's Newcastle.
Hackney. Ritson's a Geordie in his hometown last night, as you said. Brutal breakdown.
Yeah, 9th round stoppage for the WBA super lightweight. It was an eliminator, wasn't it? So the winner of this,
Davis now number 1 contender.
That's it. He'll either get, I think, Alberto Puello or Rolando Romero. Great fight last night, really back and forth. If you watched it, both landing punches. Ritson's jab is very impressive by the looks of things, and Davies hurt Ritson as well to the body quite a bit, and a few knockdowns as well. And Davies emerged the winner in the eliminator at Newcastle. So again, more British talent, Max.
Yeah, exactly. And both these guys in probably not the latter stages of their career, but I think both of them are early 30s. Ritson might be late 20s, but to make a big domestic high stake, as you said, number 1 contender fight. That's what we want more of. That's all we can ask as British fans is putting those two guys together when their careers are like crossroads. Not going to let any kind of protection, concern, greed for money, anything like that get in the way of it. Put it on. Let's get someone as the number 1 contender, and either or, would have been a British fighter fighting for that title. So whether it's Puello or Romero later this year, let's all get behind Ohara Davies and kind of wish him on, because that's another world champion for Britain if he can get the job done.
Another British world champion. And you look at almost every division now, and you've got heavyweight champion, obviously Fury, cruiserweight, Jack
Okolie.
Well, Okolie. So Okolie and Rick. Oh my God, my mind's my mind's gone blank. And then yeah, it's exactly what we're talking about here with super lightweights, and every division you seem to have a British world champion. It really is great. And what's coming up, Max? Just tell us quickly what's coming up.
So March 11th, now in a week, we have Tszyu versus Tony Harrison. It's not a title eliminator, it's for an interim belt. Don't really like interims. I think that's just all a bit fictional and glamorous way to put it on it. But it is basically to determine who is the second best fighter in the 154-pound division at light middleweight. We all know who the best is. That would be Jamal Charlo, who claimed undisputed last year in his rematch against Brian Castano, won all the belts. He was meant to fight Tszyu, I think for the same time, I think it's for January, of this year. Tszyu had to pull out with I think it was a hand injury or a wrist injury. So he got a fight that was delayed. It wasn't postponed. It was, Charlo ended up just not carrying on with the fight. I assume now he will fight the winner of Tszyu versus Harrison. Harrison stepped in, obviously short notice, 32 years of age now, beat Jamal Charlo about 5 years ago.
Comes from a family of boxers. His dad was a boxer and his granddad too.
Yeah, exactly. So a lot of heritage in his family tree with boxing, and you see that often. You got Klitschko's, even Jaron Ennis, the welterweight. Those are the first few that come to mind. Yeah, exactly. Just when it's rife in the family, it doesn't seem like you get much choice, does it? But Tony Harrison, 32 years of age, already had a lifetime of a boxing career and ready to go again, and really trying to push on now and beat Tszyu, who probably would be Tszyu's best and hardest opponent. Definitely is from what I can see on Tszyu's record. So dangerous fighter, and I thought that Tszyu kind of needed a bit more of an acid test before he really stepped up to the plate of Jamal Charlo, because it's a huge ask for him to go in and fight him. So if he can get around Tony Harrison, then we know that he is at the caliber where he can, give Jamal Charlo a good fight and really make him work to defend those belts. So that's March 11th. Great fight to note down in the boxing schedule. I think it's happening in Australia, so be some random time if you're going to watch on Britain, but definitely watch your highlights back if you can't stay up to watch it live, because that's big and big for the light middleweight division as well.
If you're a night owl, put it in your diaries. Just going to pull you up on one. So you said you don't like the interim sort of title, or that's the way they build these fights, they market these fights. What did you make of Tommy Fury's belt that he was given?
You just kind of, you don't even bother now, do you? I feel like the WBC, because they have a belt for everything. We need to get a WBC belt for this podcast, for Christ's sake. We do. They're just giving out like participation trophies at this point. This is just what it seems like ridiculous. It is. I understand, I don't understand it, because it completely dilutes and devalues what a belt is and what a title is in boxing. And we have too many already. So then to just give another one, obviously no one really cares. It's only really for Tommy to take home and show Molly in it and all that. Champion of the world, YouTube champion of the world. I don't know, but it's whatever, and you can't really stop him from doing it. But no, I'm not a fan. Belts should be world title belts or British,
belts should be won. Belts
Commonwealth
should be
or European. Yeah, and not earn over a win with Jake Paul. But hey, it's nice for him to put up in it and say, this happened. And as I said earlier on the podcast, if that's a chapter that he wants to close in his life, then he's got a belt to show for it, isn't he?
Exactly. He's got something. He's got more than Tottenham to put in their trophy cabinet. So yeah, that's what he's got.
Tottenham need a WBC trophy.
What's that?
Tottenham need a WBC trophy. They can probably,
you know what? Seriously, get Tottenham a WBC belt, just because that would be the most Spursy thing ever.
Daniel Levy on the phone to Mauricio Sulaiman,
get that phone call underway. I would love to see that. It would be just the most Spursy thing. And you know what will happen eventually? They'll have a fight at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, and they'll keep the belt there, and that will go in the trophy cabinet. It will happen.
There we go.
It will happen.
Got it planned out already, Noah.
Well, I hope that's the way it goes down. Maybe it's Harry Kane's first trophy as well. My team, Chelsea, seems to be picking up. So, picking up. I say that we beat Leeds, one by one goal.
Mate, take it as they come. That's building up, as you said. That's a progression from
exactly. 3 points is 3 points. Max's team play Manchester United on the day of recording. So by the time we go back to podcasting, we'll speak about that. But
we won't.
we won't. But in the meantime, enjoy all the sport that's going on right now. The sun is starting to crack through in time, so enjoy that.
Finally.
And yeah, thank you for watching.